You need your worksheet printed out or as reference so that you can copy it into your jotter or on a piece of paper. You need your non-fiction text that could be a fact book, a cookbook, a leaflet or something similar. In your learning pack, you have found the non-fiction text finding and using information worksheet. Now, we've used worksheets similar to this one before, and it's just to help you work out the key features of a non-fiction text and some interesting facts that you have found from reading one. Remembering the difference between a fiction text and a non-fiction text, fiction is when the story is made up, and non-fiction is a factual type of text, and they can take forms of many different kinds. So for example, a non-fiction text might be instructions, websites, dictionaries, all sorts of things, including our leaflets and posters. You need to be able to find something around your house that you could use for your non-fiction text, and it could take any one of those forms, but I've had a look around my house and I found a few. Here we go. So I've got some books. You could use leaflets and everything as well if you haven't got any books, but maybe you've got some. So I'll share the ones that I've got with me here. I've got, first of all, I found a travel book on Rome. It's got all sorts of things in it. It's got the area colour codes on the map, so you can see the maps of Rome. It's got pictures. It's got introductions, histories. It's got images with captions, and it's laid out like most non-fiction texts that we can find in our school library, pictures with labels. This has a timeline at the bottom for the history of Rome. Lots of different pictures and diagrams as well, and everything's written with subheadings and in paragraphs as well. So I've got that one. I've also got a child's one, an old child's one, which I thought was quite interesting, so I thought I'd share it with you. It's called Animal Families. It's a kaleidoscope book, and it's about different animals like koalas and squirrels and all sorts of things that can be found and their families. So it gives information with subheadings as well, and it has these interactive kaleidoscopes. Watch. Which I thought was quite fun. But I can find out lots of information about animals in these books as well. So there's an information book. You might have some of these. This is Horrible Histories. There's different genres as well, but I found this one on Rotten Romans, and it's very similar in style of having subheadings. It has illustrations, facts, some silly facts as well to engage you. There's made up stories as well as factual stories mixed in, so you have to be quite careful to work out what's real and what's not, but there's lots of really interesting facts in here. So if you're interested, these I would highly recommend if you've got hold of them. If not, you can maybe get one. History with the nasty bits left in. Also, I found a recipe book. This is the Bake Off one, and it's got loads of different recipes and information about those recipes as well, with other ideas, subheadings, instructions on how to make them. There's some history of the recipes in here as well, so I could use that. I know these were quite popular at the book bistro. And lastly, I found this information book on France. So this one has tabs and it comes in parts. So introduction, life in France, facts about France, and let's learn French. So you can get some French words in there as well. So I'm going to go to part 3 because I want to learn facts about France. There's a did you know section and 50 history facts as well, which are super interesting. Famous people, again, pictures with captions, subheadings, dates. Lots of interesting information. So I think I'm going to use this one for my finding and using information sheet. Time to write your worksheet. Right, so I'm ready to work on my sheet now. I've chosen my text, I have chosen find out about France, and I've got my worksheet and my pencil and my colouring pencils. Non-fiction text, finding and using information. It's quite straightforward. If you can't print this text, don't worry. Just try and copy out the titles into your literacy jotter, or you can do your own mind map if you want to. This is just a guide, a little bit of a help to get you picking out those information bits that we want from your non-fiction texts so that you can find and use the information later. Title of the book, nice and straightforward, Find Out About France. I'm going to write it nice and neatly in this box. Okay, illustration of the front cover. Now I would use this whole box as if it is the front cover of my text. So I'm going to use my ruler to draw out the lines for the title, because this one's got 2 lines across it, it's even got a top one. So it's nice and neat. I'm going to take my time to carefully copy the font of the text. Now I'm using pencil just in case I make a mistake and maybe squash it in, so then I can rub it out afterwards if I want to. And I'm going to draw the illustrations on the front cover bit as well. And take my time to finish that off, learn French words and phrases, write that down here. Then I can move on to the next box, which is key features of a non-fiction text. Now, the important thing to remember, having looked at the other types of text that we've come across, that not every fiction text has the same features, and it depends what page you're on as well. So I've chosen this one because it has the most common types of features that we've already talked about in class. So it's got, for example, front cover, it's got the index, the contents page, and at the back there's an index. It's got the title, introduction, it's written in paragraphs, it has images and it has captions. It also has words in bold so that you can look them up as part of a glossary, which is a non-fiction text feature as well. So anything that you come across, it must have a name to it. So for example, introduction, you can see that that's part of this page here. So you're going to go back to your worksheet and write that in. You can use bullet points. This one has fact boxes. It has page numbers. Which is important so that you can find the pages that you're looking for from the index. It has diagrams with captions at the bottom. Sorry, I nearly forgot. It has illustrations with labels, so all of those things that could go on the bottom of the key features of a non-fiction text. This one's quite straightforward and will be completely dependent on which book you've chosen or which text you've chosen. So 5 most interesting facts. Might be a little bit harder to do if you're choosing a cookbook, but there's lots of interesting facts within texts like this one, or even Rotten Romans, or books like Rome. So you can put your 5 most interesting facts. Now you can choose your favourite one from that list and write it underneath, or you can save your best one from the book and write it in the box down here. So I'm going to go to my Did You Knows, and my favourite fact that I found was Marie Curie was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize. So I'm going to write that fact right there. And carry on. Final thoughts. Now this is more like a bit of a review of the text that you have chosen. My final thoughts of this book is that it's very interesting and very easy to read and very accessible. It's got great information. I love the illustrations, they're all hand drawn and they suit the book well. It's easy to read in terms of the size of the font, and the facts are great. 50 facts about France, lots of information about the place as well as the history. So I've come away learning lots of things about France from reading this book. So that's my final thoughts, and I'm going to write a couple of sentences there at the bottom. Now you've completed your task, trim and stick it into your literacy jotter, and you can even take a photo and upload it to your learning journals.